This podcast is brought to you by P&P Games, your online source for everything video games. Visit their online website at pnpgames.com or their 2 retail locations in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Let's get started.
All right, going to fade that one down a little early. Welcome, everybody. This is our E3 2013 Xbox Presser Special Edition. That's a really long name. I don't know if it's going to fit in the title on the blog.
You could have fit in at least 8 or 9 more words.
I could have. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna try that. Let's start the recording up again so I could put more words into it.
Try to put day 1 DLC inside of it or something like that.
Yes. If you download this podcast on day 1, you get an extra 30 seconds of words in the title.
Yeah. Premium
Premium
bonus stage day 1 launch priority awesome edition.
Think of it as a day 1 achievement that you get when you download this podcast on day 1, that you can show to your friends that you have the achievement, that you got the thing on day 1. Yeah, Xbox. All right, let's get into this. This is I guess a special edition of the bonus stage. We're going to cover the Xbox presentation, the press conference that happened yesterday now on the 10th of June. But we're recording it on Tuesday just because there was so much. Like, there was 4 press conferences that I watched yesterday. It was absolutely insane. Yeah, Microsoft got on stage and they did some stuff. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to kind of run down in order of how it appeared in the show and kind of give our thoughts. We're going to breeze over some things that aren't that important, get into the really meaty things. And then right after this one, we're going to record another show for the Sony presentation. So if you want to hear about Sony, just look for the next episode that's going to be coming up on the feed as well. So anyway, let's get into this. So Microsoft got on stage and they had their press conference, and they had a lot of stuff to, I guess, kind of answer for. You could say there's a lot of people in the world and in the gaming community that were really kind of pissed off at Microsoft. They had previously,
putting it nicely, of course.
Yeah, the previous week they had basically said that you can trade games with friends once. You can trade games. You can trade and use games to only certain people or certain stores, and you may or may not get much credit for it. But we're good. You're going to be able to do our stuff because we love you. We're Microsoft. We're going to let you do all our stuff. You can't. Your system has to be always online. You have to connect at least once every 24 hours, or all your games will be unplayable. But you can still watch TV, which was just like, what? Okay, that's the thing, I guess. But if you log into your Xbox account at a friend's house, you can play all your games there as long as you have an internet connection that lasts an hour, because you have to check in every single hour or all your games become unusable. So they had really dropped a bomb of crap, and everybody was really down on Microsoft. So we hope that they would kind of, I don't know, brush some of that dirt off and maybe talk about some things that didn't suck so badly, and maybe kind of smooth over any hurt feelings and put some band-aids on. Didn't seem to happen, but let's dig into it. So they got on stage, they did their normal blah, 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 blah. And then the thing basically opened up with a trailer for the new Metal Gear Solid game, which was very interesting. Like, you have this guy riding a horse, and you didn't see who the guy was. And it looked like almost like a video that someone recorded with an actual video camera. The environment around just looked photorealistic. Mm-hmm. As the guy's riding on the horse, and you see like the rocks and the dirt and the brush and the tumbleweeds, and it's just like, holy crap, this looks like a video. This looks like the old like Mad Dog McCree games where you have like some object over top of like a recorded video. This is awesome. And then the camera slowly pans around and you see that it's Snake. And then it does this weird like fast forward thing where he kind of fast forwards a little bit and then ducks down on the side of the horse, and it says, you need a new type of stealth. And then fast forwards a little bit more and it gets into the thing.
Equine stealth.
Yeah. It was just
using the cover of horses to tactically espionage other countries.
Yeah, it was really bizarre. They showed off some really interesting things. It looks like this Metal Gear Solid game is going to be a lot more be a lot more talking. There's gonna be a lot more kind of video stuff, and that's kind of what Kojima said that he was gonna do.
Which, if you know anything about Metal Gear Solid, means that you're in for a long, long game.
Yeah.
You know, if there's more talking than in previous iterations, I mean, sweet Christ, Kojima. He is, he's worse than me for rambling on. I mean, the guy could just never get to the point.
Come on, don't get crazy, Jeff. Come on. But yeah, it basically they brought on Kiefer Sutherland to be the voice of Snake in this iteration of Big Boss. And,
how do you feel about that, by the way?
I don't know. Kiefer Sutherland's okay.
Yeah, he's a great voice.
Great voice. You can definitely tell it's him. Like, he's not playing another character. It's the Kiefer Sutherland voice after he's like put some rocks in his mouth or something. Yeah. But yeah, it looks really good. It looks like they're really trying to develop these characters, which is great. But that was it. They kind of showed some fast forwarding to different things. They introduced some of the characters, like this girl sniper who her name is Quiet, because apparently
horrible outfit, by the way.
Well, I mean, you have to have bikinis in the middle of the desert or something.
True.
Because it gets hot. But her name is Quiet, which made some people pipe up on Twitter. It's like, oh, how misogynistic. You don't want the girls to talk. And it's like, well, no, her character doesn't have a voice. And you'll probably learn about that in the game. And that's her name is Quiet. I don't think he's saying that women shouldn't be heard. But okay, internet.
Yeah, that's a bit of a reach, too. Like, really, guys?
Yeah, talk about reach. There's been so many reaches in this week about people just taking stuff so totally out of context. It just drives me absolutely crazy. Yeah. But anyway, they showed that off, and it was like, I don't know, pretty cool. And then they ended it.
And the good thing about it was that there was a lot of gameplay in that, which was even more interesting. It was like, this is what the gameplay looks like, which I think, and a lot of us more appreciate than a really good trailer, because it shows us what we're going to see when we play it. Yeah. And you're right, it looked gorgeous. The environment, the weather thing when the sandstorm blew in.
Yeah, that was the
really
other thing. The real time weather that's going to affect it. And yeah, like he's riding a horse and fast forwards a little bit and then stops, and this huge sandstorm's coming right to him, and you can see the horse kind of flinching and kind of having a hard time, and Snake kind of puts his head. I'm doing the actions right now, and this is a podcast, so I feel like a fool right now, although there are people watching on video, so you saw my stupid actions. But he kind of like throws his head down and kind of blocks out the sand and stuff. Yeah, it looks good. It looks as good as Metal Gear Solid 4 looked at the time when it was shown off. Like there's a whole bunch of like, holy crap, can they really do that in the next generation? Moments.
Especially the big thing about Metal Gear Solid 4 was that Octo camo suit. We were like, is that even possible? You know?
Yeah.
And from a team like Kojima Productions, you expect that from them. They do really take it to the next level, and I think they did with this. They
set the bar high for themselves.
Absolutely.
And they seem to meet it or exceed it in every single game. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, do a good job.
So yeah, that was Metal Gear Solid. I can't remember the tagline for this one.
It was called The Phantom Pain.
That's what it was. Whatever
the hell that means.
Yeah, I don't know.
It'll take about 18 hours of hard cutscenes to figure it out.
And lots of fried eggs being fried in front of you.
Yes.
Yeah, really bizarre. Okay.
Let's move on.
So they basically ended there, and you're like, holy crap, they're going to keep showing games like they said they would.
Yes.
But
like they promised they would.
But they didn't, to be fair. They jumped right. I mean, they did after the press conference is over, but they stopped that, and I was like, what are they doing? How come this dude's on stage talking? I don't want to see a dude talking. I want to see people shooting stuff. Yeah. But they came on stage and they announced that while they're here to talk about PlayStation 1, there's more important things to talk about, or not more important. There's just as important things to talk about now, because we want to keep supporting our Xbox 360. It's selling like crazy. We love it. We want to support it. We want to show you fans that it's not going away anytime soon. And then they proceeded to announce a new Xbox 360. Which looks like the mini-me to the Xbox One console. It looks pretty cool.
They said that they were trying to brand it in that same vein, and they were like, we want to kind of make things look the same. Which
did I just say PlayStation 1 chat room? I'm sorry. I mean Xbox One.
Did you? It looks cool. I mean, it's funny that they broke off of such a very strong opening of here's an Xbox One game.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the 360.
Yeah, it was
troublesome.
It was weird. It was really weird.
But the news was good though, which is fine.
Totally was good. So there's a new bundle that's out today. It was out basically on the day of the press conference, which was yesterday, but they said today. Although I don't know any stores locally that have it. I have some people are talking online.
Yeah.
They went looking for it. They couldn't find any. We're in Winnipeg, so maybe it's today being in LA. Maybe LA you could buy it. I don't know. It looks nice. It's supposed to be quieter and slimmer and better. It might actually be one that I pick up because I got like an old Generation 1 Xbox 360.
You got that white one?
The white one that sounds like a small plane is taking off whenever it turns on.
This one ain't any better, and I only bought it a year ago.
But I don't even have a disc in the disc drive, and it sounds like a small prop plane is flying around in my house, not over top of my house. It's
notoriously bad, those fans. I don't know what they put in there.
It's terrible. So that's really cool. So then they basically said, yep, it's here, it's out, blah, 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 go get it. And then they started talking about new features to Xbox Live. And they didn't really call it anything. They just said that what we're going to do starting in July is that we're going to be giving 2 games free to Xbox Live Gold members. And everybody's like, yeah, that's awesome. And then they announced the 2 games that are going to be free in July. So not even today, but in July. Yeah. And the first 2 games are Assassin's Creed 2 and Halo 3. 2 big games. I had to look up the release dates for these because I was just like, these are old. But I had to go look. Assassin's Creed 2 came out November 17th of 2009. Halo 3 September 12th of 2007. And then I was like, wow, that is ancient in like internet in video game worlds. That's ancient.
When they put those games up on the screen, they're like, these are going to be free very, very soon.
Yeah.
Immediately what I thought of was Conan O'Brien's skit in the year 2000, you know? That's immediately what I thought of. And although Fable 3 is free starting right now, so you can go and download Fable 3 if you're an Xbox Live Gold member. It's free. But bad news, that game blows. You know? So it's like, well, I got a free game that
I should go download it because I had to activate my Xbox Live 14-day Gold membership just to watch freaking Game Trailers TV on my Xbox 360. Yeah. Xbox and your stupid Xbox Live Gold needed to watch video streaming apps that you're not even providing the content for. Drives me insane. But anyway.
Yeah, that's some BS. We'll talk about how good Sony does with that later on.
Totally.
But yeah, so 2 free games every month, which is pretty sweet until the Xbox One launches, which is about a dozen, I guess, which is pretty sweet. I mean, you know, they don't have to give us anything. I think Xbox Live Gold is a very good service for what you get for it if you're playing a lot, which I do. So I have no problem continuing to pay the money. So getting a couple of freebies is great. But, you know, it's like...
To launch a product and have those 2 as your first games.
Bullshit, yeah.
It just drove me... It was like, what? These games are ancient? I have both of them, and I'm not an Xbox gamer anymore. Yeah.
Like Xbox sent me an email the other day, and they were like, hey, your birthday's coming up, so we're giving you a free gift because you are a Xbox Live Gold member.
Nice. Did you get a t-shirt for your avatar?
You know what? I might as well have. It's actually, that would have been a higher priced tier. I got 20 gamer points.
Oh my goodness. You could buy lots of things. 20
Microsoft points, which is like crazy. A nickel, you know? Yeah. Like, oh my God. Thanks, guys.
That's insane. I also wanted to contrast what their free games are compared to what Sony just did.
Do it.
So Deus Ex Human Revolution is now part of their instant game collection. August 23rd, 2011 is when it came out. So quite new. And then they just announced, because of E3, we're giving away 3 other games. So XCOM Enemy Unknown, which came out in October 12th of 2012. So it's not even a year old, which is insane.
Uncharted, and it's made so many Game of the Year lists, by the way.
Totally. Uncharted 3, November 1st, 2011, which is one of the highest rated games of this console generation.
And of all time.
Of all time, yeah. And Saints Row the Third, which came out November 15, 2011. So these are the games that Sony said, hey, here we go. PlayStation Plus, we love you. And then
amongst others, by the way, too. Yeah, but those were the big ones.
And these weren't like announced after Xbox did their presser. These were announced previously to, like, I think they were on the weekend or maybe the Friday before. So these were known to Microsoft, and then they chose to launch this project with 2 games that are ancient. They're still good games, but they're old games.
Can you even play Halo 3 online anymore?
I don't even know. I think you probably could, but yeah, I don't even know. So bizarre. I have the games. They're great games. I'm not saying that they're not good games, but it's just you wanna launch a product like this with, like, holy crap. You are awesome, Microsoft, and this is like, yeah, you're doing the bare minimum because you kind of have to, because people are angry that you don't do this.
You know what's the real kind of like absolute slap in the face is that if that program is supposed to incur people to buy an Xbox 360, which it will, and they go out and buy this new branded Xbox 360, the only SKU available right now apparently is the 4 GB model, which means that you can't download either of those games.
Yeah.
Which is just mind-boggling. Like,
Yeah,
so I got to buy a hard drive now too, and it's still $299.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's nuts. Anyway, let's move on.
There are some good things to say about Microsoft, guys. We will get to them.
They brought out the World of Tanks to be shown on stage, which is a really popular game. I don't get it. It's like Combat on the Atari 2600. I played that like 25 years ago. But it has big tanks and it's fun. I hear from people that have played it. They announced that it's going to be a freemium title when it launches on the Xbox 360. Cool. So it's a free download, and then you pay to play to add on stuff.
You have to be a gold member to download it.
That's right. So it's not really freemium. It's
technically free.
It's gold plated freemium.
Yes, which is cool. I mean, again, I'm a gold member and will be for a while. Free game, sure, I'll play it. World of Tanks, very well reviewed. A lot of people love it, and I'll play it on the 360. That's cool.
And then they showed off a bunch of games. All these are 360 games, I believe. So Max and the Curse of the Brotherhood looks like a sequel to Max and the Magic Marker. Looked interesting. Was kind of kiddie, but kind of scary. It looked really good. Then they showed off Dark Souls 2, which looked awesome, but I don't know if that was actually gameplay or just all CG cutscene. Dark Souls, everybody loves it that played it, except for the people that like ripped out their hair or broke their television. So interesting game to kind of throw out there. So there's those. That was kind of interesting. And then they got into kind of like what I would call the good stuff. These are like Xbox One. These will be coming out near launch. Here you go. The first one they showed off was Rise, Son of Rome, which
I loved it. Looked awesome.
Which is a game that I later found out had been in development for like 7 years.
That's a long
It was like a long road to get. They probably walked from Rome to hand over the gold master of this game. And it looked really good. So you play like a Roman centurion, and you're basically commanding people and getting into battles. So it's kind of like God of War mixed with like a real time strategy game almost. But it's not like there's not that much strategy into it. So you had the guy running. He runs up to a guy, and then it says hit X. So the guy hits X, and he does stabby. Then you run up to another guy, and it's like Y, and he hits Y, and he does some more stabby knife to the throat type thing, and then he runs over to where there's a ballista, and then there's a hit right bumper. It says right bumper ballista, so he hits right bumper, and then the centurion goes and like directs all these people to the ballista, and then they target some things, and then he goes down the path a little bit more, and he does more stabby. It looked breathtaking. It looked like just the graphic fidelity looked amazing, but to me it looked like no more than like an on the rails shooter, except with kind of like stabbies instead of guns coming out. Like you're shooting things with your guns on your ship. It looked very driven, very linear, and it was basically one big quick time event. It was like it seemed more like
I would call it a guided experience.
Yeah, it was like Space Ace, but with stabbies, essentially. It looked great, and I'm probably going to want to check it out, at least the demo. But
here's the thing, right? Like,
but yeah, it's weird.
We're looking at next gen games, right? And a lot of people had the same complaints you did, where it was like, well, it just looks like a lot of QuickTime events, and the counter to that was, yeah, but it looks great. And my counter to that would be, it better,
it has to.
It better look good,
No, I fully agree there.
So it's weird. I think, if I ever got an Xbox One, which I won't, that I would be playing that game. I think it does look fun, but it looks like something, you'd beat in 8 hours, because everything that you need to do is prompted on screen before you have to do it. And that kind of takes a lot of the, I would say, game out of the game, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, exactly. They showed off some more, this is a demo, so who knows what the actual levels are going to be. Like, it could be a great game, but what they showed looked very on rails, hit X to do Y and hit Y to do X type thing. They showed smart glass integration with this game later on, which basically showed kind of a map, showed kind of a progress, and you could basically jump to any point and it would actually interact with the game. So the girl, I think it was a girl that was demoing it, she went to a certain area, hit the button, started the game, and then as her Centurion's walking through the game, you could actually see the progress bar kind of move up on the progress meter, which makes me think that, wow, these experiences are really short, because she walked like 5 steps, and it moved
that
like,
thing was going so fast.
it moved like half an inch. It's like, wow, okay.
Just at the end of that bar, and it's like, game complete.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
win.
Yeah, thanks for your $60.
You're like, damn
Rise
it.
2 coming next week. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's been mocked up for the demo to kind of show that off, but yeah, it looked good, but the gameplay didn't seem to be there. Then they jumped right into something that I've been waiting for a long time, and that is a new Killer Instinct. And they kind of had like the voice. It's like, and now we're gonna show you Killer Instinct Combo Breaker. And it's like they come out and it's like, holy crap, it's Killer Instinct. And then I remembered, I'm like, oh yeah, it's Killer Instinct. I don't really like that game. I love it, but I don't love it. It's not a really deep fighting game, but it looked really good. And I was really excited. Like, it's a game that I'm going to want to play. Like,
it seems like a bad way to use the resources at Rare, though. You know, like,
well, it's a Rare game, right? I mean, they did Banjo Kazooie, they did Killer Instinct, they did GoldenEye. Like that was one of their
all
things.
The games that you'd want them to do again,
sure,
I think Killer Instinct would be really low on that list.
Well, fighters are making a comeback. There's a lot of fighters that are really doing well, and Microsoft owns this IP, so they might as well say, hey, if we're gonna throw this out there, if it sticks, good, we're gonna make bucket loads of money. If not, I mean, it's a decent game. We later found out that today, actually, that Killer Instinct is a freemium title, so it's free to download, and you get Jago for free. And you could play Jago versus Jago, multiplayer, single player, whatever you want. But if you want to play other characters, if you want Saberwolf, or if you want Glacier, or if you want whoever else, I can't remember any of the other people in there.
Fulgore. Been so long.
Fulgore was another one. Who's the other ones? There's that skeleton guy who I can't remember, and the girl with the nunchuck type thing. Anyway, if you want to play those characters, you're going to actually have to buy them with real money. So it's not like free to play where you get a game for free, and then as you level up, you can earn currency to buy stuff. You're actually like buying piecemeal. So how is that going to work? Like, if you're playing online against other people and someone paid $40 and has all the characters and you paid nothing, like, it's going to be, so who are you picking this time? I'm going
then
for,
it'll be a free to lose game.
I'm going for Jago. Actually, I'll use this alternate costume and call him Yago. And
the Swedish Jago.
Yeah, exactly. It was just really weird, but
they shouldn't be allowed to call free to play games free to play unless they're actually free to play.
It is free to play. By definition, it is free to play, so they're not lying. It's tenuous, though. You know, it's poor form.
Yeah,
to have a game where you get one character of a roster of like 15 or whatever.
Yeah, you know, and you know, definitely the least interesting of, I'm sure, all of those players, right? So it's like, it's free to try.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. It's like a demo. It's a free demo.
It might as well have been you could have called it a demo, you know. Yeah. But the thing is, and that, you know, actually that's
free to play is a buzzword, though.
It's a demo. Free to play is a buzzword, and they're like, yeah, it's free to play, but you only get to play this one character, so it's basically a demo. Thanks a lot. See you later. Yeah,
the best thing is if they have
$6 a character, I'm hearing in the chat room.
No, he's just making a joke. But
oh my god,
they haven't announced any pricing. But what it probably is going to be is they're going to have bundles of characters, and then if you buy all the bundles, it'll be like $50 total. But if you buy every character separately, you're going to end up paying like $80 to get the full game.
Oh, Jesus,
like,
guys.
I could see something like that happening. That would be great. Yeah. Anyway, moving on, they showed off a really great game a really great looking game called Sunset Overdrive.
That was the standout of the show for Microsoft. It was this game.
It blew me away out of nowhere.
Same.
This game starts and it's like this. It reminded me of like Jet Set Radio.
Yeah.
With kind of like tagging culture, kind of like this super deformed kind of animation, really clean. It looked like a cartoon that you could see on like Nick at Night or something. It had that kind of look and feel to it.
When it started up, I was actually, I sat back and I was like, but then he started doing shit. And I was like, whoa, that's awesome. Like, that's awesome too. That's cool. An energy drink bomb thing that shot out of a gun. Like, what the hell's going on? And it was just a guy shooting records at monsters. And
the one thing is it wasn't got live gameplay. It was just a video
That's
that
true.
they mocked up for it. But what they're calling it is they're calling it an open world persistent shooter. So the world is persistent and there's always stuff happening. There's new guns being invented every day that are going to be thrown into the world. And you can get out there and jump around and find things. It reminded me a lot of like Crackdown, where you're basically jumping around finding things, but now these things are actual weapons and other stuff that you can do. Looks really cool. I want to find out more about this game. I really wish that it wasn't a Microsoft exclusive, because I'd love to be playing this, and I probably won't own an Xbox One, at least not right away. So
yeah, you mean the best you could hope for was, maybe they'll bring it out on Windows Live or something like that, but absolutely the standout of the show was that game,
which is
and
funny.
I was totally blown away. That was the high point.
Out of left field, no one knew it was coming.
Right?
It was there was no leaks, no nothing. Everybody was just like, "What? What is that?" And that's exactly what it was. Up next, they showed off a game called Drivatar. Was it because they were talking about the Drivatar? Oh wait, no, it was Forza 5. Sorry,
Forza 5.
Yeah,
love the team at Turn 10. Those guys are great, but the name Drivatar is the dumbest thing they've ever come up with.
Yeah, it's so. Forza 5 looks really great. You can drive all sorts of really great cars and do all sorts of great things. But since it's always online in a persistent world and cloud computing and buzzword and puke, they've created something called a Drivatar. So the game watches you race and it learns how you race. And then your ghost can actually be out there for people to take and put into their game. So if they're racing a race, they say that, oh, Jeff made a really stupid mistake here, because they could actually see it happen. Your personality becomes the AI. And everybody I see some people on Twitter and they were like, oh my God, this is so amazing. It's multiplayer even when I'm sleeping. This is great. And then I had to tell some people, I'm like, remember Real Racing 3 that came out on the iPad? It had that. and so this is not fancy or new. If this would have launched before that, it would have been like, holy crap. But it already exists. I mean, it's kind of cool, but to call it a Drivatar, I mean,
that's dumb.
People are making like all sorts of really, really bad words that I don't want to say on the podcast.
A hardcore racing game to denigrate it with this word Drivatar, which sounds like a casual kiddie connect kind of thing, is just a stupid idea.
Yeah.
Just
call it your license, your driver license.
Yeah, exactly.
Or something more racy.
It's also not all that different. Like the fact that this guy will race for you if you don't want to race. They have that. I mean, in Forza 3, you could hire drivers to do races for you, so you don't have to do it, and then hop in at any time.
But now they're real people. If I can't beat the race, Jeff, I could have you your custom AI drive the race for me.
Exactly. It's a very cool idea. It's a very cool idea. I really wish I could play Forza 5, but I won't.
Yeah, I just
Drive Club.
Yeah, exactly. All right, moving on. They said that how they're committed to independent developers. Independent developers are really important to them. Microsoft has a long line of indie development support going on, dating back to the start of the Xbox 360. We love independent developers, and then they showed off Xbox One Minecraft, which is the most
which they didn't show off,
Well, they showed a little bit.
45 seconds.
Yeah, there was a bit of a video. I mean, how can you make it's Minecraft? Like, it looks the same no matter what PC you're on. You could have a 10-year-old PC and it looks the same as your $2,000 gaming PC you bought yesterday. But it's like, yeah, developers, we love independent developers. They're great. And here's one, Xbox One Minecraft. And it's like, well, that is the one independent developer that really isn't independent, because they make all the money. Like,
they're stoked now.
They have more money than some development studios and some publishers.
Hundreds of millions.
Like, I love Mojang, and I'm not. This isn't a slight against them, but if you're going to show independent developers, you show like small studios that have like 3 people working for them that are putting all of their sweat and blood into this game, and then you show
the guy from Braid, you show the Super Meat Boy guys or something like that. Yeah,
and it's like we're supporting developers, independent developers, we love them, but they show off like Minecraft, which is so weird. Anyway, enough of that. That's one of the things that Sony did better, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They showed off
the many things.
They showed off a game called Quantum Break, which turns out it's going to be kind of a TV show game kind of thing. So the trailer that they showed off looked pre-rendered. Like, it was flawless. It looked amazing. And then I saw the developers on Game Trailers for an interview after, and I think it was Jeff Keighley. I think he was the one doing the interview.
My headset cut out. I didn't hear the game that you were talking about.
Quantum Break.
Oh yes, yeah.
I think it was Jeff Keighley. He basically said, okay, people have been talking online. They say that no way this is real time. Is that a real time gameplay trailer? You know, the guy walks up and he basically moves the pieces of glass out of the way and grabs the woman.
Stunning, yeah.
And he's like, no, that's running real time. And Jeff Keighley's like, what? That's real time? And he's like, yeah, no, it's real time. He's like, is that running on Xbox One hardware? And the guy's, well, no, because it's running on debug stuff. It's running on spec debug hardware, but this is real time. This is exactly what we want the game to be on final hardware. It's running on debug stuff, but it's running on as close to the real thing as we can do right now. And you could see Jeff Keighley was just like flabbergasted. The first time I saw him, like, just kind of like, whoa, really?
Yeah.
I don't believe it. It was like, what was that game from Sony? And I'm blanking on it right now. The shooter, what is it? Killzone. When they showed the Killzone trailer a couple years ago, and people, when PlayStation 3 was first announced, and people were like, no way that's real time. And sure enough, it was a render that was rendered to spec of what the
they
system.
had another company put it together.
Yeah, but this was actually running real time on spec hardware, on basically a development kit, which is unbelievable. Like if games are going to look this good in the next generation, especially like the Sony hardware is more powerful than Microsoft's because of its memory pipeline and some of the stuff it can do. So if
I guess the big question is because Microsoft hasn't released their figures on their graphics card, so a lot of people are saying that the Sony's console could just completely destroy like 3 times as good, or it could just, no one's saying that Microsoft is going to win in any hardware spec.
No. And I wasn't getting into that kind of argument. I'm just saying.
But you're totally right, though. Like, it's just the way that they're utilizing it is
yeah, exactly. And I think all the hardware for both consoles are pretty much known. Like, they know the chips that are in them. The only real difference is that Microsoft is using slower memories. Like they're using DDR3, and Sony's using GDDR5, which is way faster. Microsoft has different pipelines, so there's some things that go back and forth. There's some great articles at Anantech that talk about the differences between them. But if this is like running on Xbox One hardware, you know that, like, holy crap, this is going to look just as good on PlayStation 3, because there's no development issue where when the 360 and the PS3 first launched, it was really hard to write for this new architecture called the Cell on the PlayStation 3. The PlayStation 3 is just running PC hardware just like the Xbox One is, or sorry, the PlayStation 4 is running PC hardware just like the Xbox One is. So it's like, holy crap, this is the first system reveal where games shown on one stage, they're going to be pretty much the same as games shown on another stage, because the hardware is essentially the same. They might as well be the same box with different OSs. Like, it's pretty amazing. When I saw this, I was just like, holy crap, this generation is going to be awesome. I didn't realize
I was looking at gameplay until they started moving around. I'm like,
yeah,
is somebody playing this?
It's nuts.
Has that been said it's an exclusive for Xbox One?
I don't,
because I hope not.
I don't know. I haven't seen it anywhere. I would assume so, since they made such a big deal about it. But
because it's also going to be released with a companion television show as well too, which I'm very interested in. So that's a cool idea. That game, first of all, it's the first time we actually got to see anything about the game. We really don't even know what it's about. I guess we can make guesses now, but it looks interesting. It's certainly brand new, and it's just, it kind of strikes a chord in me somewhere where I'm like, that's something I want to be a part of.
Yeah,
I hope to God it's not exclusive.
It's an Xbox Live, an Xbox One exclusive.
Damn it!
They're calling it a time travel mystery. So yeah.
Oh well. I'll watch Let's Plays or something, I guess.
It's a live action series produced as part of the game, and the game will come with it. So there's like these videos that are going to be, I guess, with gameplay in between them. I don't know. It's by the same development studio that did Alan Wake. So I love Alan Wake. They're all about the video and video games and cinematic stuff. So
last week on Alan Wake, I love that stuff. It was great.
Yeah, I loved it too. So yeah, that's Quantum Break looked absolutely unbelievably awesome.
It'll be something I'll miss.
Yeah, totally.
That'll be one of those ones that'll be hard to take. It'll come out and I'll be sitting there with a PS4 and going, this son of a bitch console.
All right, moving on. They showed off some other stuff. They showed off an episodic murder mystery by the Swery 65 guy called it's basically D4, but it's a new version of D4. I don't follow that series. I don't really get it. I know that what was the other game that Swery 65 did that came out recently?
Recently, I don't know.
The Last Blade, and Last Blade 2, that was Neo Geo. Lord of Apocalypse on the PSP, Lord of Arcana, Ace Combat Joint Assault, Deadly Premonition was the big game. That's the one I was looking for.
People say that's a game that is so bad it's good.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not willing to take that chance, though.
And so it looks like D4 isn't a sequel to D. I thought it was a sequel to D. I guess not. So D4, it's an episodic game that is basically coming to the Xbox One only and Windows. So I guess we'll find more about that. Swery 65. I'm going to say that because I can't pronounce his actual Japanese name. And
okay. I don't know if you know.
I mean, it looked okay. I mean, what are you going to do in a small video like that?
Yeah.
And then they showed off probably what was one of the coolest things that was shown at the event, besides Sunset Overdrive, and that is the Kinect open world game creation studio / game called Project Spark. Yeah, it's really cool. So they basically showed world creation using Kinect. So there's like, I want to make mountains over here, and mountains drew up. It's like, oh, make it ice, and so snow comes on. It's like, no, desert. I was like, oh no, how about jungle? And then the world goes like that. And then he basically takes his hand or whatever and draws in some valleys or whatever. And then they go into this, and he's like, oh, I want to create my base here. So he kind of like gestures over to an area, and this base appears. And then he shows how to create things. So he took this rock, and then he basically added like AI to it, and the AI had been generated and submitted to the community, so anybody could have gone and grabbed that AI and put it on their rock, and the rock would bounce around and chase after him. And then later on, when they got into battles, like he created this orc fort just by dragging and dropping stuff with his hands from menus, and then he saw these orcs rushing towards him. So he grabbed a battle AI from something that had already been submitted as well. And apparently there's a code editor, so you can edit your own stuff like visually, not with actual like type stuff. Yeah. And he grabbed like the battle one, puts it on the rock, and next thing you know, the rock turns into this like big beast and starts like fighting these guys. And then he grabs like superpowers and puts it on the rock, and the rock transforms into this big golem and starts destroying things. And
that was kind of the, I would say maybe the most next gen thing they showed, because it showed how
very Little Big Planet, but ramped up even more so than what Little Big Planet did.
The thing that was cool was the fact that it used the gestures and voice command and populated naturally. The thing that I didn't care for was everything else. It quite frankly didn't look like something I'd want to play. But I think the idea there presented is more interesting than the game itself. And I think when you see stuff like that, that's usually what the result is going to be. Like, the game will be okay, but the ideas it'll give other developers are what we're really going to wait for.
If it even comes out.
That's true.
Because there was that Kodu learn to program thing that was supposed to come out, or maybe it did, where it was supposed to teach kids to program games by doing visual things, and I think it did come out. And I remember seeing articles about it, and it was just kind of a meh kind of thing. This looks even better because you're using your voice. Like, anybody can say, I want to make a hilly world, and I want to have mountains over here, and turn it to ice, and then put this thing here, and then kind of trace in stuff with your hands. I just hit my mic because that was stupid.
I think the only thing that kind of really sucked about that demo was that we really got a zoomed in view of that world. I would like to see how big the world can be, how many different variations. What would be cool is if what you could really do was have like a Scribble Knots kind of thing, right? Where it just had a bunch of different things that could populate depending on what you say. That would be really interesting. Yeah. And maybe that's what it is. I don't know. They didn't really show, they didn't have enough time, I think, to really get to the meat of it.
Totally. It reminds me a lot of Minecraft, where like your world is kind of only limited by your imagination, because he got pretty specific. Like, he jumped down into his village, and then he was like kind of making stuff over here and then putting stuff over there. I'm sure you can design any object you want, and then and then like duplicate it and populate the world with it. They showed at the end of that demo, they showed a world that had been created over like 3 days or something by his development team, and you just saw like this huge battle going on with like dragons and beasts and stuff, and the guy was like, he threw this boulder that made like lava or something, and it was just like, okay, this is pretty damn cool. I kind of like this. But again, it's by Xbox Studios, so it probably will never ever come to anything else. Well, it won't come to anything else except maybe PC, but who knows if it's even going to come out. Yeah, I kind of liked it. Looked really interesting.
And you're going to need to put your Kinect on the top of your computer monitor.
Yeah, exactly. Well, just buy the Kinect version that comes with your PCs, so Microsoft can spy in your office as well as your living room. All right, moving on. They got the suits back on stage. They talked about Xbox a little bit more. They said there's no more friend limit. There's no more 100 friend limit. They basically said it's unlimited, but they didn't say it was unlimited. So I wonder what that actual limit is. And really, who cares? If you have more than 100 people on your friends list, you're probably getting pops every second that someone's logging in or logging off. It would be really annoying to have that many friends. Yeah. And they also said that there's no more Microsoft points. They're going to a real dollar currency system.
Then what did they just give me yesterday, those bastards?
Yes.
They should have just mailed me the nickel.
Because it would have been more insulting to give you like 23 cents. Here's your 23 cents. Or less 20 Microsoft points. Yeah, crazy. And then right after that, they jumped into another demo. It was just like, why didn't you do all the console specific things in one part? Like, why are you breaking it up? It's really weird. And then they went into a demo, which unfortunately had no audio. It's called Crimson Dragon. It's the spiritual successor to Panzer Dragoon, which I loved. And I saw this and I'm like, holy crap, this looks good. I hope it sounds good too. You had people in the audience that were catcalling and laughing and screaming, which was like super childish, and I really wish that hadn't happened. But what are you gonna do? It looks good, but I want to watch that trailer with the audio. I should go look for it after this one.
It has to be up by now. That is pretty embarrassing, especially considering the next guy to come out. They showed the Battlefield 4 thing, and it didn't have audio, and they stopped and restarted for him.
Yeah.
You know, like, what the hell is that? You're like, oh, well, this guy's got more money than the other guy.
Well,
you're like,
this is the big thing we want to show off. After Crimson Dragon, they showed off Dead Rising 3. It looks like you're in a world filled with lots of zombies, and you could basically duct tape any two things together and make a weapon out of it. At one point, he made a sledgehammer circular saw, so it had a circular saw on one end and a sledgehammer on another end, which is pretty awesome. It looked interesting. I mean, the graphics looked really great. But Dead Rising has always been kind of like the humorous thing. Like, there's always a joke. There's always stupid stuff happening. It's kind of comedic. This game just looked very plain, just like you driving over lots of zombies and killing lots of zombies in really interesting ways. But it just seemed really weird to me. I mean, I haven't played the other two. We were talking before the show. I haven't played Dead Rising because when I first had my Xbox 360, you needed an HD television to play Dead Rising because the font size was like 3-point font, and it was just a blur on a normal like CRT.
Yeah, even on S Video, it was tough to make out.
It was terrible. And then when I finally got an HD TV, Dead Rising had already been out for a while. Dead Rising 2 was coming out. I never picked up the second one because the first one, I hadn't played it, and I wanted to kind of play them both because it had the same character in it. This one is just a different character all together. It's a new main character as well. So I don't know. It looked good, but what was really kind of charming about Dead Rising, like running around in Mega Man helmets, firing guns out of your fake like arm blaster thing. It was just like, that's awesome. This was just more of zombie killing done another couple ways. I don't know. Didn't really speak to me.
It looked really clunky. It looked like the guy was a tank. It looked like it didn't control very well. It just didn't look interesting. I'm so tired of zombies at this point. They're not something I'm interested in anymore because it's so oversaturated, and quite frankly, only a few IPs do it well. Dead Rising is also so old now that I don't know if a third installment is necessary.
It's a weird IP to reboot.
Yeah, I think they brought it out there just because maybe they had nothing else. It looked gorgeous, and the AI looked pretty interesting. I mean, there was so many zombies on screen, but there were so many zombies on screen in the original Dead Rising, so I don't know. I wasn't sold by it, and quite frankly, it looked really poorly done. Maybe it'll play differently on the demo floor, but I just, when I watched that, I was totally, and I was already pretty out of it anyway because I was like, this is a shitty press conference, and then they brought out that and I was like, I don't even care about this, it's like, show me something I want. Well, then they kind of did, with Battlefield 4, but I mean, I could have saw that anywhere.
Sure. I don't know. I kind of like the press conference. It was more tight, and it was better than the PlayStation 3 or the PlayStation 4 one, for different reasons, I guess. But
yeah.
All right, let's finish this. So they showed off Witcher 3, looked awesome. If you like
Which
Witcher,
is what you would expect from the Witcher series.
It's always looked unbelievable. It looked like something that should be able to be on a console when it was on a console. Or like anything. Like it always looked really good. And this one's the same. Then they showed Battlefield 4. Like Jeff said, they had to restart it because of some weird issues. What they showed looked pretty damn amazing. It looked stupid. Like this one point, they're fighting on an aircraft carrier. The aircraft carrier kind of gets damaged and lurches to one side. So planes are starting to fall down basically down the top deck and then into the water. The guy turns around and shoots like retaining straps on another plane. The straps snap and another plane kind of slides in. And I'm just like, holy crap, that is awesome. I want that.
Yeah.
And then the aircraft carrier breaks in like two, and they're going like into the guts of it and then out of it. It looked unbelievable. The graphical fidelity is amazing. Like it looks unlike anything else I've ever seen.
Yeah, and it was great in Battlefield 3. To this day, it still is.
Totally, it's what they do, right?
Pretty game.
Looked really good. There was a better demo in another press conference that basically showed off the multiplayer stuff, which was pretty amazing. They just showed single player stuff on Xbox stage, but it looked really good. So that was Battlefield.
Certainly a next gen game.
Oh yeah,
no question about it.
Especially this wasn't on the Xbox One, but they showed the multiplayer one. They had 64 people in the match fighting, and then at one point they brought down a freaking skyscraper, and the thing basically collapsed while guys are watching after jumping out the top of it. In the EA presser, and I was just like, holy crap, I want to do that. I want to play that. I want to live in that world. It looked so unbelievably awesome. But yeah, it's so they showed up Battlefield 4. That was cool. Then they got into some more indie stuff, which they should have done with the indie stuff that they talked about before. But of course, they're Microsoft. They do stuff weird.
Break it up for some stupid reason. Indie. How about we keep it with the other indie? No, because Minecraft's big and everybody loves that. Well,
they showed off Below, which is basically by the developers of Sword and Sorcery. It's by Capybara and Jim Guthrie. It looks really amazing. Has the same sort of art style. Looked really interesting. But yeah, they should have done it with the other indie stuff. It would have made it would have been a better. It would have had better effect, I guess.
Yeah.
Then they had a really weird tease of this guy in a cloak, kind of walking up a mountain and cold, I guess, because he's in this big heavy cloak. And then he gets to the top and looks over the ravine, and up comes this big ship, and the ship makes this big blast, and his cloak hood comes off, and it's Master Chief. And it's just like, oh, so that's a Halo teaser. Halo's coming in 2014.
Yeah.
Why is Master Chief in a cloak? I mean, he has thermal protection in his armor, so he doesn't need a cloak. So was he hiding from something? Like, what's this story? And it was just a weird teaser to have. Like,
Halo 4 was great and is great, and everybody should buy it and play it if they have an Xbox 360.
Yeah, it's really good. I liked it.
But you know what? It's not going to sell a console for me, and I think having Halo 5 come out, in 2014 is a little soon to me.
Yeah.
Well, you don't
maybe
want
it's
to make
something different.
Maybe
Maybe it's something different. Who knows?
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe.
Because they just called it Halo. They didn't say what the actual name was. They just said Halo.
They've gone back. They rebooted the original.
It's Halo. It's Halo 1. O-N-E.
Halo. On
the Xbox One. Yeah, they rebooted.
And like all the iterations after are going to be spelled 2W or TWO and THRE. Like, oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, so that was Halo, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's Halo." Weird. And then they came back on stage and they're like, yeah, that was great. Hope you like the show. We got one more thing to announce. Xbox One coming in November. Price $499. Just like he was about to drop the mic and walk off the stage. And there was like no reaction from the crowd. There was like...
Yeah, I heard a few boos.
I heard some boos.
I heard some boos.
I heard a few kind of claps, a couple cheers, but it was just like oddly silent. And it's like, oh, weird. That was bizarre. That's probably not what they were expecting.
Yeah.
And then right after that, the stage went black, and then another trailer happened, and they finally showed off Titanfall from Respawn Entertainment. the game looked great,
Yeah.
but it seemed like the crowd was not into it at all. Like when they cut to the crowd, there was no crowd noise. I think everybody was just like, $4.99? Are you freaking
they were
kidding me?
still thinking
I'm not
about
going to
the
buy this
price.
game because I can't afford $4.99 for this
Sony
system.
did it right, you know.
Yeah.
Tell the price and then get the hell out of there, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. It was
run if you have to, you know.
It was really bizarre. So I mean, Titanfall looked really great. It's
That
like
part
an
where the
open.
guy gets like shot up into the air, right, and he comes
Yeah.
back down and like gets inside the Mac or gets on top of the Mac and then like beats the shit out of it and it blows up. Like I was like, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, so before we get too
Respawn's-
much into it, it's, if you don't know, Titanfall is by Respawn. They were the ex-Infinity Ward guys. They started a development studio. They're working on this open world multiplayer shooter. That's what this is. You are a warrior, but you can get into the big ass mechs that look really crazy awesome, and fire weapons and punch things. Looks really great. But yeah, it was a weird way to end the show after a Halo tease that was confusing, and then $4.99 in November leave the stage. It was just, I don't know. So anyway, that's the last of the Xbox presser. We're about to wrap it up because we've been going on for an hour. We wanted to do a half-hour show. We kind of never do that, so I'm not surprised.
Hey, you've been talking a lot. I haven't talked much.
But yeah, it's, I don't know. The price is too expensive.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be more, you know, so I'm happy that it wasn't $5.50, but
Yeah.
$4.99.
I thought they were going to do something stupid. I thought they were going to lose money on it because Microsoft needs this to work because they want to get in everybody's living room.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to do $2.99 and take like $100 wash on it for the first little while.
Yeah, smart thing to do, but they're not prepared to, because then they'd have to drop down the price of the 360, and the 360 is staying the same at $2.99.
Yeah.
The real issue here is, you know, that Microsoft is going to be successful with this box in some regard. Eventually, a lot of parents are going, or a lot of families are going to buy it because it presents some interesting ideas with the television. The problem is,
I don't know.
they're not going to buy it day one.
I'm still
Gamers are
not
gonna buy
convinced
it
that
day
in
one.
5 years people are going to have television the way they have now. I mean,
Well,
there are a
yeah,
lot of people
like-
will, but those are the people that wouldn't buy a $500 set-top box. Those are the people that get their
Microsoft
box.
needs to. They need to show people why a $500 Xbox that plays games and does television is better than just buying a $99 Roku box,
Yeah, exactly.
which they have not done at all.
No, they haven't even come close to that.
And it's just it's very expensive. You know, the fact that the Kinect is bundled in because it has to be, I think, jack the price up because that thing is a very high tech piece of technology. You know, you don't even get, all you get is 14 days of Xbox Live Gold, which is another slap in the face. You know, like, give us gold for a year or 6 months or something, you know, like there's no incentive here to buy at all. And that's really, you know, they also have that limited edition, you know, commemorative bundle.
That's what I was going to say. Like, even more confusing. Right after this press conference ended, I got an email, and Microsoft said, "Own the experience. Available on day one. Get your day one commemorative edition, which comes with a special controller and an achievement to show that you were there on day one. That is only available for people that have bought this
Premium
this bundle."
black packaging. You also get some bonuses. You get a multiplayer map and a sword bonus for the game Rise. You get 4 cars for Forza 5. You get Kinect Sports Rivals, and or sorry, you don't get the game. You get exclusive sporting equipment, and you get an exclusive Frank West and stuff for Dead Rising. It's all crap that nobody gives a shit about. $4.99 too expensive. Just so many things wrong with this. The only thing they did right, actually, okay, so that's I shouldn't say the only thing. They did a lot of things right. I'll go really quickly through them. They showed a lot of games, which was great. You know, they showed the tech of the system. I wish they would talk a little bit more about the controller because I want to figure out why it was different. They did it quickly, which was also good. You know, it was what an hour and a half maybe or something like that. It was very brief. They got through it quickly, but it was staggered and it didn't have a cohesive flow. And just the price is just too damn high. And then, you know, talking about the price and then going into one of what should be a massive, massive, massive game took the wind out of the sail for that one, you know? And it was like, we're all still sitting there, like you said, thinking $4.99, like, what the hell is this? You know, it's just, it's horrible. Also, I mean, let's quickly say, Microsoft is dumb as hell for even announcing a price. You know, you've got in 6 hours from now, which is more than enough time to re-figure out, you know, how much the PS4 is going to cost. You've got your main competitor right there, ready to go, and you just laid out all your cards on the table and be like, I have a straight flush, and you set them up to be like, okay, well, I'm just going to take out of the deck until I get a royal flush. You know, like,
yeah.
What are you thinking? You know, you shouldn't have said anything about the price.
It was really bizarre. I mean, I don't know. I guess Microsoft thought that they would have a price that Sony couldn't beat, and that they're including the camera in would just make it like unbelievable to the consumer. Sony learned their lesson. They launched at $500 a year before, and they got their ass handed to them for the first little bit. So yeah, I don't think that was the smartest thing to do. Actually, I know that wasn't the smartest thing for Microsoft to do.
Yeah, Microsoft's awareness here in this last 6 weeks has been very poor. You know, I mean, it's
like they're throwing darts at a dartboard and guessing on their marketing. Like it's just like, yeah, this is only going to piss off a certain percentage. Let's do it.
Yeah. If you're listening to this, like, you know, the day after we record, if you're not listening to this live, you know, and you haven't listened to Sony yet, Sony is somebody who did show awareness, you know, like we'll talk about it next, but they showed that they are understanding of what people are saying out in the world, and they made that adjustment. Whereas Microsoft, to me, it feels like they just said, well, you know, the Xbox 360 did such a good job that a lot of those people are going to come to us no matter what we do. And they rested on their laurels, and they became a little bit arrogant, and they put on so many contingencies on any, you know, little thing that, you know, we like about gaming, and they're, you know, they restricted the hell out of us and put this other stupid camera in our house, and it's just this bizarre decision after one, and, you know, it was, I don't know.
They're not focusing on the gamer.
And they're really not.
Definitely what Sony did. They said we want to support gamers. We love gamers. Microsoft is like,
who else is going to buy day?
We want to give you an experience, and we want the publishers to be happy, and we want to make fat wads of cash.
Yeah.
Which is just not what you should do, I guess.
Did Jack Trenton say fat wads on stage?
I think they might have. I think that's what they
No,
did.
he didn't say it, but it showed up on the big screen behind him. Fat wads.
Yeah, exactly. Yikes. All right, well, that's going to about do it for this special E3 2013 Xbox Presser Special Edition. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Head on over to vgpodcast.com for more. We're going to be talking about Sony next, or the next podcast in the feed if you're not listening live. We're going to be talking about the Nintendo Direct. It's not even a press conference. We're just going to do that on a normal Thursday show, so that'll be coming out later this week. You can head on over to VG Podcasts. Thanks, Jeff. .com/forums, and you can jump into our forums, and there's a lot of people talking about E3 stuff there as well. So, all right, guys, that's going to about do it. Like I said, we'll talk to you soon if you're listening live or listening to the podcast feed. Later, guys.
Let's get started.